Well, I think that there's been a remarkable shift, really, in the balance of power between Europe and China, which has all flowed from the Western financial crisis of 2008 and the dilemma faced by certainly the weaker economies in terms of their indebtedness and their desperate need for funds. And this is, of course, primarily an issue for Southern and Eastern Europe, Central Europe, but also, I mean, there isn't really any European economy which is in a very happy state at the moment. Meanwhile, as we all know, after the crisis, China has carried on growing very rapidly. So where Europe used to be rather haughty in its attitude towards China, that's to put it politely, one might say arrogant, things have changed rapidly. I mean, by definition, the rise of China, which comes from such different historical and civilizational background, inevitably is, I mean, it does not conform to the Western model. Of course, there are overlaps and similarities, but primarily it doesn't. And so the rise of China now provides an alternative pole in the world, particularly for the developing countries. But I think we'll see over the next 10 or 20 years the West also looking at China and thinking, have we got something to learn? Hitherto, of course, with the West thought you've got nothing to learn from China. Well, there's always been a lot of scepticism in the West, I think largely misplaced, about China's economic durability. After all, in 2008, it wasn't China that went belly up, it was the Western economies that went belly up, led by the United States. Of course, China has huge problems, huge difficulties, and it's in this state of kind of modernization and transition. So it's a very, very complicated process. But I think that the chances of them accomplishing this over the next, carrying on the process over the next 10, 20 years are good.
Basically, the gravitational pull of the West, starting with Europe and then the United States, has been immense. And other countries around the world have been obliged, sometimes by force, sometimes by force of example, to copy or borrow or learn from the West. That era is rapidly coming to an end, and we're going to see, and it's going to be very painful for the West, because the West has got no experience of doing this. The West is going to have to learn from others in the way that they previously had to learn from the West, and China is the key.